Good day. This is last night's um, lab that we did live. So those remote users. So what we have is a router. We're going to configure the subnet mask here. So your version should have a 28. So to determine a 28-bit mask, we put 8 ones in the first octet of the subnet mask. 255 is another 8 ones, so that's 16. Another third octet would be 24, and then we need to get to 28. So there's 8, 16, 24. There's your 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. And if you add 111 in binary, it ends up being 240. And then the other subnet mask, the 1721611 with the 29, same thing. First octet 8, second octet 8, third octet 8, that's 24. Then we go 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So you add up the first 5 bits in binary and it ends up being 248. So that should be a review. So let's configure real quick. And remember, for labs, we always want to configure basic configs on one router, one switch, and test SSH. So we're focused today on layer 2, so we're just going to configure layer 3. So go to dialog, always answer no, because that's a wizard. So enable config T. We just need to configure our 2 interfaces. So int fa 0/0, no shutdown, so I don't forget. IP address 10.10.10.1, 255.255.255.240. So what I want to show you right now is if I put a .0 here, what's the error it's going to give me? Well, it's invalid. Put a 0 in first. So it tells me it's a bad mask for what it's saying that you cannot use .0. So let's go ahead and configure interface FA80. So I'm going to arrow up and change the 00 to 8. No shutdown. If I IP address 172.16.1.1, 255, 255.255.248. So both interfaces are to be active, and we can see the MAC addresses here. So we're gonna look at that in just in a minute. So let's go to the switch and configure the IP on the switch. T, INT VLAN 1, no shutdown, IP address, and .10.10.2, 255.255.255, 240. Okay. And then IP, I'll exit this level so you can see the command IP default gateway 10.10.10.1. Now, if you want your switch to ping outside the LAN, you need to put your gateway in. Okay. So remember layer 2. So let's see what the switch knows. So it's show MAC address table. And it knows something in F881. So 81 is a switch. Notice that it does not notice anything on F880. Now let's check the ARP table on the PC. Oh, let's configure the IP. And I did this in advance because to save time. So there's your IP. Make sure I put my subnet mask in. There's 2 ways to look at it. So now let's generate traffic by pinging the gateway. That is 172.16.1.1. reply. Now, if we show ARP table, we see a layer 3 address mapped to the physical address layer 2, and it's dynamic, meaning if we change that MAC address, it'll change with the new IP or the same IP. So let's look in this switch. There's nothing in here besides the router. Now let's generate some traffic from the PC here. So we'll ping the gateway. We'll ping the switch first. Ping 10.10.10.2. Okay, remember the timeout was probably the ARP. I have a layer 3 address. I need a layer 2. And so that replied. So if we do ARP now, arrow up to, we didn't do ARP yet. So ARP A. Now we have the switch address layer 2, IP layer 3 with the MAC address layer 2. Ping the gateway. So that's .1. Let's see what happens with the ARP table. So we went from 1 entry to 2. And if we look at the switch MAC address table, we should see more than 1 entry. Now we see something in 7, which is the PC. Remember, Ethernet can lay undetected for long periods of time until they generate traffic. So what we want to do now is ping this PC over here and determine, will it record the MAC address in the switch and in the host? So we'll ping 172.16.1.6. Hopefully it pings. Reply, reply, reply. So the MAC address of the end device here, in the way you can double check that, IP config all, or in packet tracer config tab, click on Ether, the gigabit under Ether interfaces, and then you see your MAC address, and you can copy that. So that's how I get it on the topology. So this is going to record in the switch that MAC address. The answer is no. Same with the host. If we do the ARP, that MAC address is not listed. So you're only going to see the IPs of the LAN and the MAC addresses in the LAN of your layer 2 devices. And remember, layer 2 is going away, so because it's so easily attacked. All right, let me make sure we got everything covered. Oh, let's go ahead and flush out. So if we fast forward time, right now it says 1821, it'll flush itself. So the switch has 2 entries in it. Make sure it still has 2. So if we fast forward time, it'll do it automatically, or we can do clear question mark. Okay, there it is, MAC address table. So clear MAC address table. And then if we show it, everything's empty. And then also here with its ARP-D, that deletes any entries for ARP. And then if you do ARP-A, no entries. So either time or manually you can flush the MAC addresses. So that's the demo. Make sure that you can SSH in with the router and switch. That concludes the video for today.